Hello and welcome to Nothing Happens. I'm Dave.
I'm Tom. We have a lot of opinions, but no facts.
Uh, Hellboy.
Yes. More like no joy. But okay, you can take the lead on this one then.
Oh god, it's trying to summon up the energy to really just say how bad this film is. Like, okay, so you start off the film, and it's not great to begin with, but there's something weirdly enjoyable about it.
Should we let's just maybe go from the start. Like, this is probably going to be quite short.
Yeah.
And this is just going to have spoilers from the start.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered.
And if you haven't seen it, don't.
Yes,
Like,
I
have no qualms about spoiling this film for literally everyone. Also, if you've seen the trailers, you know how the film goes.
Yeah.
So the film starts off, and you've got a backstory: King Arthur. There's a blood witch. She loses her head. It gets put in a box. It's very badly acted.
At Pendle Hill,
which
is where I'm from, around that area. By the way, looks nothing like Pendle Hill, nothing at all. But London looks like London. Why couldn't they get Pendle Hill right?
But yeah, so you've got Mila Jovovich as the Blood Queen. Now, she hasn't been in anything, as far as I'm aware, since the Resident Evil films. Now, I've only seen the first two, and I gave up after the second one. The first one's actually not too bad.
It's been so long.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but it's like, not a terrible film. And she's actually quite good in it as well, but yeah.
Doesn't she just have to look confused and kick things in the face, though?
Yeah, true.
She just has to Keanu Reeves it, Matrix style, basically.
Yeah.
Like the first Matrix.
But, yeah, just... Oh god! So the film starts off, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of, it's a bit bad, and it's some of it is a bit weird, and it's not acted that well, but we'll carry on going through this. And then you get some giant hunting, which was actually quite fun, and the film progresses, and it's like, okay, the jokes aren't really hitting that very well, but I'll kind of get over that as best I can.
I mean, I really must. I tried to find this film funny, but then what was funny about it was how funny it tried to be and wasn't.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there was one joke in it that landed,
No.
and I can't think of one time when I thought that a one-liner was actually good.
No.
I thought that all of it was, and it wasn't like, how when we talked about Shazam, when we were like, oh, there were bits in the trailers, but they were funnier in the film, and then they built on the joke as well.
Yeah.
There was like none of that here.
No.
It was just no, that's exactly how it is from the trailer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't funny in the trailer, and it's even less funny now.
Yeah.
I mean, I did still like that opening, that like King Arthur opening, and I did like the first bit of dialogue, as in all like the voiceover.
But it's really weird how like all of the bits in the trailer that they've got is literally the final climax. They're already in London. The weird demon things are out. The hey, I'm on your side bit, like all of that happens in the last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And by that point, you've switched off to a point where just nothing is going into your brain. You're just constantly checking your watch. I really can't. I can't say anything positive about this film. It's I'll just go for what the worst parts are. So yeah. So what's his name? David Thingy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think he does the best with the bad situation.
Yeah. I mean, a bad situation of however many millions he got paid to do it. But, yeah, it's just, he's all right. He's a good actor. And in this, it's like, you've got this script to work with. You're being directed in this way. Like, okay, fair enough. You tried your best. Well done for that. But then you've got, and then Ian McShane as well, not terrible. I mean, he's in quite a few bad films, actually, but it's like, he always manages to kind of,
be the best thing in them.
Yeah, like, what's it like?
I don't know if he was in this one, but he was fine.
He wasn't acting so badly that I was fully aware of him acting, and now I'm going to come round to this. So you've got Alice, some random side character that, oh, there's a point. So, right, at one point in this garbage fire of a film, Hellboy is knocked unconscious by a giant, and then he lies there, and then 4 people turn up in a van, and then they cart him off, and then he ends up at a girl called Alice's flat in London. Why? How did they know about this?
excellent point. And
There
also,
might have been a bit of dialogue that I missed where she might have
No.
gone like something, and I was just I couldn't focus on her dialogue because she was acting so badly. But it was just like, oh my god, every line.
she
just
was
like,
terrible.
She
like,
was
she
awful.
was really bad.
I literally like not saying this being an actor, but like all I was doing in that thing was going, you say it like this, or I was just replaying her lines. Every time she said a line, I replayed it in my head and gone, you should have said it like this. Because it would have been realistic. Because it would have been something that a human being on Earth would have said in this way at some point.
Yeah.
Rather than just... Bleh.
I just really don't quite know how to feel about this film in the way of... I mean, who watched it and was like, that's okay?
Yeah.
Because it's not even okay. I mean, up until, like, the giant hunt, I was actually... I thought, okay, it's going for that it's so bad it's good vibe.
Yeah.
It's not taking itself seriously, and it's just really gory and really action heavy, just for like the sake of it.
Yeah.
And the introduction of like the pig character and all that, I thought he was very good.
Yeah. He had an interesting story arc as well. Like
and was fun. It was fun. But then like Alice joins, and it's just. You were saying the sidekick characters are really bad to the point where their acting is terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're so over the top British as well that, being British is just like, no one's like that. Like, no one says to someone in the morning, you look like you could use a proper English breakfast. No one talks like that. And if people do talk like that, then please let us know in the comments. But, that really... Just no, and the editing. My God, the editing.
Oh my God,
This film feels about like what 10, 20 years old. Maybe 20 is a bit too far, but like early like 2000s.
Yeah.
How comic book films used to be shot, or even just action films, where it just grabs you by the wrist forcibly and painfully, and just runs you through. No time. This is quick. Like editing, we have to do voiceover this bit, and then like on this bit, and then we're just gonna do this now, and it's just like information. Well, not even information, just overload dump.
Yeah. They were trying to do so many different things. Like the first, the original Guillermo del Toro ones were like, okay, so the thing is that he's going to cause the apocalypse, and they've done the same thing in this one, which is the most famous Hellboy story arc, admittedly. But they've gone with this one where they've gone, oh, you're going to cause the apocalypse. By the way, here's Merlin. Oh, hello, Merlin. Okay, you've got some information for us. That's fine. Yes. By the way, you are the great grandson of King Arthur, and then the woman who is also your mother had sex with a demon that was married, and then you were born. So you're the last one of the bloodline to be able to carry. So therefore, you can hold Excalibur and claim it from the sword, and that's how you're going to kill her. But at the same time, that sword that you're going to use is actually, for some reason, whenever you touch it, it prophesies that you're going to be the king of hell, and actually you'll destroy the world for some reason. And all of that is said at that kind of speed in one little section.
And then he uses the last of his magic to tell us all this, and then dies. So he's literally just the most expendable character in this. There's no and we have to compare it to the original two, the Guillermo del Toro's ones, because I like those films more than you do. But
I really enjoy them, but and they're quite tongue in cheek. I just think the problem with them I have is that I just don't think they're really that technically good. Like they're cheesy, and they're in the same way that Van Helsing is an enjoyable film. I think they're an enjoyable film, and I do really like them. But actually looking at them, it's not that good.
Yeah and no. I mean, I think that there's at least they do a lot more of character development in that. You spend a lot more time with Hellboy just being Hellboy, like he's just sat around eating, or just filing his horns down. And I mean, yeah, you get that in this, but it just doesn't feel. Everything just feels like the pace is so quick, and for what purpose? It's not even to get to a point. It's just to cram as much in as possible.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's bad at storytelling. Some of the visuals in it are very good. Like the walking house was quite fun in the mist, and the demons that come out of hell are quite interesting. And it's like, there's clearly, but once again, it's something out of a Guillermo del Toro film. It's like the director went, okay, well, I want to make a homage to Guillermo del Toro, and I was like, that's fine. You want to do that? Great. Maybe hire a decent script writer. Maybe get like some editing done in a way that is followable in any order whatsoever, and maybe don't hire fucking awful actors in this. I'm sorry, I cannot. I cannot. I was so aware that three of them. Yeah, so Mila Jovovich, the guy from Lost, the Korean guy from Lost, and whatever the hell they drag that girl up from, who also weirdly started having a bit of a thing going on between the two of them at the end, and he's like 40 odd, and she's like, what, 15 or something. Yeah, that ain't creepy. Yeah, and it was just like, yeah, just every syllable that came out of their mouths was just bad.
Well, you just don't care. Like, when he's, like you were saying just before, yeah, well, let me tell you about something that I was doing before I joined the force. It's like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I was a risk assessor. Don't care. It's all maths. Don't care. And when he tells, like, the story of how he got the scars, it's like, don't care.
No.
Just none of it. Don't care. And then, oh, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? Like, but even some really bizarre choices in terms of visuals, so she can connect with the dead and the dead can speak through her. But how they speak through her is that she puts her hand on like a corpse and then she literally sort of like sicks up a spirit.
But it's not even like a spirit. It's not like a cloud of.
No. Where does that come from?
It's like she's literally, her insides, like all of her internal organs, form the person that she's bringing back to life, and it's just like, why? Why was this a choice that was made? This is dumb. Yeah. And then later she has the ability to punch the dead to death.
What I saw,
like weird zombies were just coming out, and then she like punched the spirits out of them, and I was like, oh, how comes you can do this? I don't know. I've always had weird powers, but I didn't know I could do this. I was like, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for some lovely plot development there. I'm interested in your story arc. I really want to know more about everything about your life. No! Just, it's bad. I struggled to find anything in the last 3/4 of that film that was passable as a film that I wanted to be seeing at the cinema, that I paid to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was on board with it at the start as well, and you lost patience with this far more than me, and I could hear the turning in the seat and the heavy groans during the dialogue and the head going into the hands and just like noises that were just coming from next to me, and part of me really liked that for a bit and was like, I'm enjoying how much you hate this, but then it got to the point where I was like, even Dave's like hatred for this film and clear torture of being here isn't enough to nourish me through the rest of this. I can't do that anymore.
It was the bit for me. It was like, so you get to the end of the film, and then you've got like, or you've got different story arcs and more action happening, and I'm like, okay, let's pick up the pace somehow, because the pace is so fast anyway. But I just want this over and done with.
Yeah. And
then suddenly the film finishes, and they zoom out of St. Paul's Cathedral, and I'm just like, oh, thank God! Bang! 6 months later, I was like, no, there's more.
For what as well?
And apparently there's a post-credit scene as well, which I'm so sad that we missed. And the worst thing as well is like in that 6 months later thing, they're like, what's this? Sapien. And then they clear away the glass of this tank, and then it's like, oh, what's that? You want a sequel? You want a sequel? That's hilarious. No.
Do you reckon it will get a sequel?
No! There's no way in hell this film is going to do well at the box office.
I don't know. I mean, because, okay, I didn't hear what anyone else was saying, like, afterwards when we left, because we were complaining so loudly. But
we were the first to get out of our seats, but there were still people sat down in their seats, and I was like, what are you doing here? Leave.
I mean, maybe we're the minority, though. I mean, I haven't ever really read a Hellboy comic book, so maybe it's very faithful to the source material and does a great job, and we're on our own here. But at the same,
still a bad film.
Yeah, it's a very bad film.
Whether or not something, it's if it stays true to the storyline, or if whatever. But it is, I'm sorry, if the jokes don't hit, if the characters are badly acted, if the plot is just messy as well, like the way they jump to different locations, it feels it was faster than like the last season of Game of Thrones. It's like just all of a sudden you've got to shove so much story in there, and it was just like, right, we're here now, and I was like, oh, that's nice. It jumps around. It's just no, I can't salvage.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I really didn't like about it that I can just throw in there. I mean, yeah, again, like with the it's just all so bad. It's sort of hard to pick out bits that I thought were particularly bad. Um, it's just more the dialogue I thought was.
It was the bit for me which I was like, right, this is now officially a terrible film. Is that when the Asian character sidekick is just all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I immediately hate you because you're a monster, and except in a very British, badly done accent. And it was just like, it was just like, okay, so you hate him for being a monster, and you've got the scars on your face, and okay, can we get a bit more development from this? No, it's just you force a story arc. You're forcing a character to grow by giving them a predisposition that is never explained.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, you hunt monsters for a living, but this guy's turned up and you just immediately hate him. And I don't, even if there was a psychological reason for it, it just completely went over my head.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't feel that there was any sort of character development in it at all, really. Because, what is his name, that agent guy? So, he hates demons, but he is a demon.
Or he's some sort of night crawler, whatever, jaguar.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the pig was the only one that had the sort of...
motivation that made sense.
The motivation that made sense was sort of the only person that... Generally, when he was on screen, I was like, I am entertained and I like this. His was the only British accent that I thought was good. He was like, I'm going to fucking rip your fucking head off. I was like, yeah, I do actually quite like this guy. He does entertain me.
I need to, actually, I'm going to just quickly have a look and see who that was.
Yeah, do. I mean, because I did think that... Actually... I mean, I'm not a person that's big on gore for the sake of gore, but this film definitely had that. And to be honest, that was probably something that I did quite enjoy. I mean, some of the looks in there is in the design of the sets and the characters. So, some parts of it were good. It was a good-looking film in parts. But then other bits were just like, oh, it's just... Okay. Do we think... this film is A, more messy, and B, worse than Suicide Squad?
Oh yes, it's worse than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean that's how bad this is.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. There are still Suicide Squad is messy, but I was still more engaged with that film for longer periods of time.
Do you think it's because we knew the characters better in it though?
No, I still think it's done slightly better. I just think it's because that's the thing. You can glean out something from that film, like certain actors that are better than others.
Yeah.
A more cohesive plot line. Like it's like the themes of Suicide Squad just don't quite gel together as well. Or like
it's just a bad story.
Yeah, but no, Hellboy. No, I can't justify any of its actions, any of its anything. It's just bad all round. It's a garbage fire.
It's sort of it almost drains me in. It drains me in a similar way to how Shazam did, in that Shazam was just very excited for it. I was just like, but it's all good. Like, just go see it.
Yeah.
With this, it's so bad that it kind of drops off my spectrum into just, I don't even have the energy or the strength to say how bad this is. And I've said to a friend that I'll go see it with him as well.
Oh God!
So,
no, you don't have to. Sit
no,
again,
I'm not. I'm just not going to bring it up unless he brings it up.
Yeah.
And if he brings it up, then I will just gently nudge it around to being, we're not going to see this. But it's so annoying as well, because I would have really liked it if it was a film that didn't take itself seriously and was, so bad it was good on that kind of level.
Or if some of the jokes hit.
Yes, just nothing here. The only one that came vaguely close, but then, when you actually look at it in the sober light of day, is not funny, was when Alice did turn up with the car and the people, and Hellboy goes, "What, is this my Uber?" and then just passes out. And that was like, ha! Modern. But actually, probably why is that funny?
But then once again, that's where the film finishes having any semblance of decency.
Yeah,
like just from that point onwards, you're
that giant hunt bit was good, actually.
Yeah, I
really did like that.
I quite enjoyed that, and it starts off okay, like that. Yeah, at no point is the film good, but at least it starts off with a bit fun. I'm kind of involved with the characters here, and then it just drops off, and you're just left with 3/4 of a film that I just wish I'd walked out. I don't think I've ever walked out of a film, but I was coming very close in the last 2/3 of that, just going, I'm out, don't care.
I have to admit that I was close as well, but actually, that's something again just to chuck on the how does it make sense pile.
Okay.
So he knows Alice because he saved her when someone had taken her away. Some imps or sprites had taken her away.
And replaced her with the changeling.
With the changeling.
That was the pig guy.
Yes. So does that mean that these changelings, when they're adults, can change into humans as well? Or can they only do it when they're small pig baby things?
Maybe it was the iron. So yeah, because the whole thing is that he
burnt him with the iron.
Yeah. So the pig guy in this is a changeling that replaced Alice when they were younger, which we all saw in a flashback, which was very unnecessary. And then because he was exposed as a changeling, he escaped, and now his entire motivation for going against Hellboy is that he could have had a happy life as a human or pretending to be a human, but now he can't change back. So is that because he was branded with iron? Because he does mention that later, how he was branded with the iron. But does that mean then that as a human, you'd have to spend your entire life just avoiding touching anything made of iron?
Well, quite possibly, but also he wanted to be restored to his full glory, and she restores him to that at the end, which is just where he's a big hulking version of himself. Yeah. So it's just that he couldn't grow into that. So it's not even. So he was always going to end up like that. Mm. So, but could he did? I just don't get why. I just don't understand. I don't understand that why you'd steal a baby and replace it with a pig that can transform into looking like a baby, and then you expose that pig and it's branded with an iron, and then it can't grow up to be a big pig. It can grow up to be an all right pig, but can it still turn into a human or not? It just
You can be a big pig too. I
just don't get it. I just don't get it.
And it was the thing is what it's like. So, okay, so in the original 2 Hellboys by Guillermo del Toro, the whole thing is that it takes 2 films to set up that he's going to bring about the apocalypse, and then the 3rd one apparently that was where it was supposed to all happen there, and it's all building up.
Well, no, it happens in the first one because he tears his horns off in the first one.
Yeah, and then but he's still in the second one. He's still destined for it.
Well, yeah, he's always destined for it. Yeah. It's the theme that just runs throughout.
Yeah, which fair enough. But in this one, it was okay. So the whole thing was that he wanted the world to be a place where humans and monsters could live alongside each other. So that's why he has mixed feelings about this. But his way of achieving that, or his motivation for possibly siding with the Queen of Blood, was that the only way it could happen would be if he causes hell on Earth and therefore every human dies. Right? I don't understand why he would ever pick that option. Just because it's his destiny, like it doesn't.
Well, I just don't understand why there isn't a compromise. I don't get why it has to be one extreme or the other. Because that was one point when I did actually feel the tide slightly sort of like change for me. Was when they're in like that World War II bunker or whatever, the secret headquarters, and he has the whole thing of, and what do we do then, and what do we do then. And he just basically acknowledges, why do we just have to destroy everything? Mm. Why can't there be some sort of harmony here? And I was like, this is actually interesting. This is sort of pulling me back in now. Now I want to see where this film's going. And it just sort of ditches anything like that. Well, to all of a sudden his motivations change back to, actually, you're right, we kind of have to kill everything. Well, it didn't seem to go anywhere.
Well, my thing that I kind of is me defending the film. So my big thing was like, so when you get taken to Baddie Bat's witch house on legs or whatever it was,
house on chicken legs,
the house on chicken legs. That's what the film should have been called, I think.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, so he goes to the witch's house and she's eating, like, the fingers of children or something like that. And if that's the point where he realizes actually these other creatures are, they eat humans most of the time, they're quite inherently evil, or maybe that's where his decision making sort of changed.
I get that, but surely, that's so. Yeah, I mean, she's not a nice person. and she eats children, but does that mean every magical being does as well? I mean, he doesn't. And Alice, who has, like, who has got lots of different
Alice
things.
Alice is just a human with psychic abilities. Oh god, that was the bit of the film where I was just like really despising it. Was when she turns up and they're at the flat and then they leave outside and then suddenly Ian McShane turns up and it's just like, okay, well, what do we do with Alice? And it's like, she's a powerful psychic woman. She'll be helpful. I was like, no, she's a terrible actress. Don't take her with you. I don't want her for the rest of the film. And then she's in the rest of the film. I was like, Ian McShane, if you just said the line, no, we're not taking her with us, I'd have been so happy.
Yeah.
Because is she even useful? Like,
she's useful at the end because when his dad dies, she pukes him up again, and he delivers a nice little speech, which isn't even that nice. He's basically like, be a man, and stop whining. But, don't be a little bitch. That's basically what he says.
To be fair, I mean, it works. So
it works, yeah. I don't quite. I don't quite get why maybe I'm rushing things, but why is you're a man? Why can't it just be you are human? You're one of the most human people that we know. It's sort of. He does
say he's a good man though.
Yes, but yes. But it's just I don't really like this whole thing of like be a man. It's just sort of well, no, it's just you are the most human person thing I know. I don't know.
No, I just thought like, in your rewriting of it, Ian McShane's line, you're the most human thing I know.
You're the most human person thing I know.
To be fair, that wouldn't have been the worst line of dialogue in this film.
Exactly.
So let's rewrite it as that. I want to leave it there. I'm done. This film has taken so much out of me. I think we've covered everything. Is there anything else you want to sort of bring up with this?
No, I'm really trying hard to think if there is anything. And I mean, we said about Pendle Hill, how lots of us like it, how we quite like the demons at the end. I mean, I really can't think of anything else that's worth talking about in this film.
No, right. Let's leave it there. Just So what's it? So 4 thumbs down. It's definitely 2 thumbs down for me. Fuck it. It's 2 thumbs cut off.
Well, I'd say then because this is the annoying thing about this film as well, is that we devised a new scoring system just before we went in. So we're like, if it's one of those films that is so bad it's good, then that's where we do the minus thumbs.
Yeah.
Because that's in minus territory. But for just films in general, we're not doing minus ones or anything. It's just going to be out of 4 thumbs, because that's what we have. So, how many thumbs are you giving it, Dave?
None. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it any thumbs either. So this one gets a whopping no thumbs out of 4. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, congratulations!
If you would like to contact us, you can do that via Instagram or email. Our email is andnothinghappens@gmail.com, and you can find us on Instagram at andnothinghappens.